Hello everyone, my name is Colby Nelson, and today I'll be covering the topic of hydraulic fracturing. The topic of hydraulic fracturing is a very controversial issue right now. There's either people that are really for it, or there's the opposite, people that will attack it or really against it. First we have to look at what is hydrofracking. What is the process involved? Well, to understand hydrofracking, you have to read up on some books and journals. And fortunately for me, I've done that, but I also work in the oil and gas field. Not on the production side, more on the drilling side. But what hydraulic fracturing is basically we go in on the drilling side, we drill a well, we run casing or permanent pipe all the way down to the TD. So we go approximately 8,000 feet down out here in the Permian Basin, and anywhere from 3,000 to 10,000 feet horizontally in what's called the pay zone, or the most likely formation, to get the fossil fuels that we're trying to extract out of the surface. We run that permanent pipe down hole, and we bring out two different cement trucks. And they basically cement the pipe into the ground. Now, with the pipe being cemented into the ground, they go in and they do what's called perforating. Okay, they run out. They go. They basically set off explosives in this drill pipe along those certain points to create what's called fractures. Well, under that pressure, those fractures are not going to stay open. So they have to go out and they have to mix hydraulic fluid, which mostly consists of water. Now, there are some harmful chemicals in it, some that can cause cancer, death, and are very harmful for you. It's very important that the fracking crew handles them safely. Anyway, they mix it up with sand, and the sand and these chemicals go down hole. And they pump so much of it, one well could use millions of gallons of water, that it fractures the formation further. So it just causes that formation to fracture. And what that causes is the sand to be forced into those fractures to help it stay open. And then you go out, you pull out, you extract a lot of that through a pulling unit or a coiled tubing unit, and then they go in and put a pump jack or a compressor on top and extract the fossil fuels that we were there to drill. The controversial topic that is out right now is mostly about your drinking water. There's many people out there that believe that, hey, we go down there, we put all this pressure on this formation, where does all that water go? I, for one, feel that as we produce it, we're producing something that is meant to come out of the wellbore, not stay in the ground, not go up to the drinking water. If that was the case, we'd be seeing more water in our stuff we're pulling from out of the ground. I think that would be something that would be easily detectable. Anyway, one of the articles that I found was from a lady called Lisa Sumi. It's called "Are Drinking Water at Risk? What the EPA and the oil and gas industries don't want us to know about hydraulic fracturing." Basically, she's saying that these fluids are injected at such high pressures that the fluids that we're using go right into our drinking water. Now, I'm not saying this can't happen. I mean, like any industry, the oil and gas industry is no different. We all have our safety issues and our flaws. And unfortunately, in any industry you're in, you can have an operator, you can have anyone who is irresponsible, doesn't follow the rules, looks for the cheaper way out. To me, that is why we have programs like the EPA, or the DEP is what they had up in Pennsylvania, But we have those programs in place to go out and find and stop people from messing up the environment. Because at the end of the day, it's really, what kind of a world, what kind of a future do you want to leave your kids for tomorrow? You don't want to mess this up. When we have operators that do not cut corners, and they do the correct methods, basically, another article I found, it's from a book called Fracking, The Operations and Environmental Consequences of Hydraulic Fracturing. This book's by Michael D. Holloway and Oliver Rudd. They answer this. They say that this would require that hydrofractures extend several thousand feet beyond the upward boundary of the target formation in the layers of rock. They also further go on to say, geologists estimate that there is at least half a mile of rock between the natural gas deposits and oil deposits and the groundwater. In many cases, there's a lot more. Impermeable shell acts as a barrier to vertical propagation of both natural and artificial fractures. So basically, when you go to extract a fossil fuel, the thing that has held those fossil fuels down in the earth for so long has been an impermeable rock. It's basically a cap that holds it down there. So if we go and we drill through that cap and over into the zone where we can extract our fossil fuels and cement it into the ground, really, if it's done right, there should be no way for it to come back to the groundwater. After hydraulic fracturing is complete, the fluid flows into the wellbore, not away from it. It's not going into the water supply. It's coming into the wellbore. So then we put a pump jack or a compressor, and it's coming out of the wellbore, where it is then taken to a disposal. In short, nothing in this world comes without a cost, without a price. Unfortunately, our economy today runs on fossil fuels. It's going to be a very long time before it is a viable, before there is even a remotely viable chance for alternative fuels. You hear about them being developed, but really, honestly, even if they came out with it tomorrow, there would still be those that wouldn't be able to afford the technology or wouldn't want to change to that technology. No process is completely perfect, but we need to ensure that the process is as good as it can be. And I think that with this, with everything being done right and the checks and balances we have in place, I think we can drill for fossil fuels to provide the fuel and energy we need for today and for tomorrow. Thank you.